All right, so on 5.8, we had 2 more examples to do. So the first one, I think you guys started, so hopefully you guys got it right. So subtract the 4, square both sides. So you get 3x minus 6 is less than 3. Oh, less than 3 squared, right? So 9. Add the 6 over. So I get 3x is less than 15. So x is less than 3. 5. I'm struggling. Okay, so you actually have 2 inequalities. So this is the first one. So this was solved just like it was an equal sign. The second one is that under the square root, you have to have greater than or equal to 0. So this must be positive or 0 in order to take the square root. You can't take the square root of a negative number. So we say 3x minus 6 has to be greater than or equal to 0. Solve it out. So divide by 3, you get x is greater than or equal to 2. Both things need to be true. So I need to be greater than or equal to 2, but I need to be less than 5. So notice how they can have different circles, like one can be filled in, one can be open. This is a situation where that would happen. All right, so your answer is 2 to 5, parentheses. Okay, then the challenge, like I said, this could be like a typical bonus question. All right, so you have 2 inequalities to begin with. X has to be greater than or equal to 0, and x plus 6 has to be greater than or equal to 0, so x has to be greater than or equal to negative 6. So those came from under the square root. So those things had to be positive. Okay, if both of those need to be true, if x has to be greater than or equal to 0 and x has to be greater than or equal to negative 6, think about what that means. So greater than or equal to 0 and greater than or equal to negative 6. Where do they overlap? Greater than or equal to 0, right? So x automatically has to be greater than or equal to 0. So you can kind of ignore that. Okay, so I wrote ignore because it overlaps at x is greater than or equal to 0. Barely read that. Okay, so we're going to solve this just like normal. So I need to isolate one of the absolute values. So it's already isolated. So I'm going to square both sides. So when I do, I have the square root of 2 minus the square root of x times the square root of 2 minus the square root of x is less than or equal to x plus 6. So when I FOIL, I get square root of 2 times square root of 2 is 2. My outer is negative square root of 2 times square root of x is negative square root of 2x. So 2x is under the root. And another square root of 2x. And your last is plus square root of x times square root of x is x. Okay. If you subtract x from both sides, the x's go away. So that's good. Makes it a little easier. What do I get when I combine negative square root of 2x minus another square root of 2x? So how about Izzy? What do you think?
When I get negative, sorry, repeat that.
So when I combine negative square root of 2x and another negative square root of 2x. No guesses?
No.
Okay, how about Taylor? What do I get? Negative square root of 2x.
Like -4x.
Nope, kind of. So what if I had negative square root of x minus another square root of x? You get negative 2 square root of x, right? You'd have 2 of them. So in this case, I have negative 2 square root of 2x. So it's less than or equal to 6. Subtract the 2 over. Oops, what am I doing? Square root of 2x. Yep, and we're going to divide by that negative 2. So I subtracted this 2 first. Now I'm dividing by negative 2, so what does that mean? You switch the sign, right? Naveen always likes saying red flag. So divide by negative 2. So I get 2x is greater than or equal to negative 2. Now I'm going to square both sides. So I get 2x is greater than or equal to 4, so x is greater than or equal to 2. So I just squared both sides. Okay, we need both x is greater than or equal to 2 and x is greater than or equal to 0. Tricky one. So where do they overlap? No. So here's 0, here's 2. So I need for x is greater than or equal to 0, and I need x is greater than or equal to 2. So your final answer is just x is greater than or equal to 2. So it's bracket 2 to infinity. So you're always finding where they overlap. So that's your answer.